我为什么要出国打工？因为国内实在混不下去了。
Why did I decide to work abroad? Because life in China has become increasingly difficult for me. Now, I am almost 50 years old and I used to work in the real estate industry. Last year, my company went through a large-scale layoff and I was let go. My life immediately hit rock bottom. I did try and I did put in the effort. But every time I go for a job interview, as soon as they hear my age, they immediately reject me. Even when some companies are willing to give me a chance, the salary is only 3,000 to 5,000 yuan. What can you do with 3,000 to 5,000 yuan? Some bosses even talk to me about ideals, but I'm almost 50, what ideals should I still talk about? What I need is a sense of financial security. My child needs to go to school, my parents need to be supported, and I still have a mortgage to pay every month. The pressure of life is overwhelming, and it feels like I can hardly breathe. To be honest, I am feeling somewhat disheartened now. But what can I do? On this highly competitive land in China, I feel like I can't keep going anymore. So instead of staying here, I'll go abroad and try again.
国家统计局今天发布了10月份的失业率数据，大家看到了吗？
Recently, the National Bureau of Statistics released the unemployment rate data for October, and many people were somewhat confused after looking at it. The unemployment rate shown in the data seems much lower than what we are experiencing in real life. Especially if you are currently unemployed or worried about being laid off, you may feel that these statistics don't reflect the reality we are facing. To help everyone better understand this situation, I'd like to share a real story of a friend of mine, hoping it will give you some insight. Please bear with me and listen carefully. This afternoon, I received a call from a friend. He told me he had decided to go work in Japan. He is the third person in my circle of friends who is planning to work abroad. He used to be my colleague at IBM, born in the 1980s, and both he and his wife had worked at a well-known private software company in Shenyang. This company mainly worked on projects for Japan, and the salary and benefits were quite good locally. Unfortunately, in June of this year, the company carried out a large-scale round of layoffs, and both he and his wife were among those let go. Afterward, they stayed at home for a few months, during which time they sent out countless resumes, but unfortunately, received no responses. At first, I tried to persuade him to keep looking for opportunities domestically, but he told me that the family had expenses to cover, and they just couldn't afford to wait any longer. He had also made a carefully considered decision. Firstly, he had been working on Japan-related projects for many years. This year, many foreign companies have pulled out, and places like Shenyang and Dalian are flooded with talent specialized in Japan-related projects. Even when a position becomes available, hundreds of people compete for it, which makes the pressure unbearable. To make matters worse, age discrimination during the resume screening stage often eliminates candidates before they even get a chance for an interview. Worse still, he sees no hope of improvement in the job market in the short term. Given this situation, he decided to consider working abroad. After all, he has been learning Japanese since he was young, and his Japanese skills are quite good. Although his technical expertise is not top-notch, he believes he can still find opportunities in Japan, as Japan's technology level is relatively behind. The most important thing is that age is not an issue in Japan. In contrast to the age discrimination faced by people over 35 or 45 in China, in Japan, many people continue to work even into their 60s or 70s, as long as they are physically capable. Therefore, age doesn't become an obstacle when looking for a job. It's like finding a job in your home country. You've been working for a few years, and if you get laid off, it's truly devastating. There's another important factor that influenced his decision. Now, his child is already in middle school. He hadn't originally planned for his child to study abroad, but the competition in China's education system has become too intense. His child's academic performance is average, and there is uncertainty about the future of the college entrance exam. Even if the child manages to get into university, the future job market is concerning. To give his child more options, he decided to go to Japan first, to pave the way for his child's future. Even if the child cannot smoothly enter university in China due to the college entrance exam, at least in Japan, The child can continue their education and also learn a foreign language. After the call, I thought about it again and realized that my friend's decision actually makes a lot of sense. In today's job market, if you feel that you can't compete in China, perhaps working abroad could provide you with a new perspective. Some friends might worry about not being proficient in foreign languages or whether they can adapt to life and work abroad. But actually, this is not an insurmountable problem. For example, I myself studied Japanese for half a year after graduation. Although I wasn't fluent at the time, I quickly adapted to the work environment in Japan. Unexpectedly, in the following 2 decades, most of my work was related to managing Japan-related projects, so it wasn't impossible at all. Compared to the millions of people competing for the few thousand civil service positions in China, I think this could be a new career path for Chinese men. To all the friends watching on the screen, under the current employment pressure in China, do you have a better choice?
我跟你说，这地方啊，就是完完全全印证了那句话，钱难挣，屎难吃。
Let me tell you, this place in the United States really proves that saying earning money is so hard. Work is tough, especially for ordinary people. Making money here is especially difficult. Of course, it also has some advantages. Many people come here just to work and earn money. Honestly, with the exchange rate of 1:7, enduring some hardships isn't that big of a deal. But when you come here to work, the hardships are not as simple as you might imagine. The hardships here could be much greater than what you experienced in China. You might think that if you were a civil servant, a white-collar worker, or a teacher in China, once you come to the U.S., we'd all be starting from the same point. No exceptions. In the U.S., many people end up doing jobs like delivering food, delivering packages, or washing dishes in restaurants. These are basically your first choices when you get here, and you really don't have many better options. Especially if you don't have any professional skills. Skills are really important in the U.S. Here, having skills is key to survival. Many Chinese people are putting in all their effort to squeeze into the U.S. for a reason, particularly for the sake of their children's education. If you can study at a high school or learn a trade here in the U.S., it could easily be better than graduating from a decent university in China. This is undeniable. If you are an ordinary person coming here to earn money, although some jobs might not have a proportional relationship between effort and reward, there are still many jobs where the effort and reward are in proportion. The key is to find the right job. You have to try different jobs first. Moreover, if you really decide to work in the U.S., I would suggest starting with some physical labor jobs, like washing dishes or doing odd jobs. You must personally experience these jobs. Only then can you truly calm down and do something more meaningful. If you don't go through these, you will always think there must be better jobs than this, and feel like, what's the point of earning $100 here? But in reality, it's not like that. You must go through this process to truly settle down and understand how to do these seemingly insignificant jobs, like cleaning toilets, earning some money, and living more steadily. This is a very real side of life. Of course, if you genuinely want to come to the U.S. to work, I think the current environment is still acceptable. After all, with the exchange rate of 1:7, many negative aspects can be overlooked. As for bringing your children here, if their grades aren't great, then let them learn a trade. Honestly, learning a trade can at least ensure a stable job for the next decade or so. When you return to China, you can live without worry about food and clothing.
都说出国打工很挣钱，是真的吗？
Many people say that working abroad can help you earn a lot of money. Is this true? Today, I will show you my total income in Japan for the entire last year. You can see here that I have 15 pay slips. There are so many because I received 3 bonuses last year, and the total amount of these bonuses is roughly equivalent to 3 months' salary. Adding up all the wages and bonuses, my total income was 3,142,000 yen, which is about 150,000 renminbi. It seems like a lot, but in fact, after deducting various social insurance and other fees, I ended up paying around 400,000 yen, which is approximately 20,000 renminbi. These figures represent my total income for the year. In reality, the wages for working in Japan are not high, and the living conditions are quite poor. The place I live in is just a small, cramped room with very limited space. Although the living conditions are poor and the wages are low, many people still choose to work in Japan. The reason for this is actually very simple. Many people are misled by labor agencies. These agencies often claim that you can easily earn 20,000 to 30,000 renminbi per month in Japan, but the reality is quite different. Without a degree or technical skills, and with no experience, can you really expect to just pick up money on the streets of Japan? This situation is very rare. The reality is far from the rosy picture often portrayed.
大家知道为什么那么多人来了美国就选择留下来不回去了吗？
Do you know why so many people come to the United States and eventually decide to stay here instead of returning to China? Whether it's the wealthy, the students studying abroad, or even ordinary workers, many people ultimately choose to stay. Some say it's because of the high wages in the United States, but actually that's not the main reason. If it were truly about high wages, we should also consider that you earn in US dollars and spend in US dollars. So, there wouldn't be a 1:7 exchange rate difference. So, what really makes many people choose to stay? Firstly, I think one big reason is the lifestyle in the United States. There's no complicated web of personal relationships like in China, and there's no constant competition. In China, many people live their lives under the gaze of others, and the social relationships around them often make them feel trapped. You have to live up to the expectations of others rather than for yourself. Many times we live for face and are afraid of being looked down upon. Some even endure uncomfortable situations just to avoid losing face. But in the United States, the lifestyle feels freer and more relaxed. In the United States, no one cares what kind of job you have. No one cares what kind of car you drive, what clothes you wear, what bag you carry, or what watch you wear. These things are not the standards by which people judge you. People respect each other, no matter their status. When you meet, people are always polite, greeting you and asking how you are. In China, especially for those doing lower-end jobs like delivery work, you may often face unfair treatment and even be looked down upon. It seems that everyone in society is pushing themselves to climb upwards, always feeling a sense of competition, fearing being looked down upon, fearing losing face for their family, and making life exhausting and hard. But when I came to the United States, many things became different. No matter what profession you are in, people will greet you kindly and thank you for the work you do. Even if you don't speak English, people will be very patient and tell you what to do without discriminating against you. In the United States, your time outside of work belongs to you. You can relax as you wish or spend time with your family. This lifestyle is completely different. Here, even if you wear the same clothes every day, even if you wear them during the day and wash them at night, or if a girl doesn't wear makeup and dresses casually, no one will gossip. In contrast, in China you might not dare to do this. In addition to the sense of personal freedom in life, many people choose to stay in the United States because of the education system and healthcare system. Many parents bring their children to the United States to give them better educational opportunities. The education system here is considered more comprehensive and open, offering more opportunities for children. Additionally, the healthcare system in the United States is another important factor that attracts many people to stay.
Why are so many people choosing to work abroad nowadays? The reason behind this has deep roots. You may have heard an old saying, if the father is incapable, the son suffers. If the son is unskilled, the father bows his head. It means that in every 3 generations, one will inevitably face hardship and suffering. Either you bear the hardships yourself, or your parents endure them for your sake, or your children will bear the burden in the future. In today's economic situation in China, for an ordinary person to change their destiny, it is no longer possible through the efforts of just one generation. Changing one's fate now requires the collective effort and sacrifice of at least 2 or even 3 generations. For most people, this process is filled with numerous difficulties and challenges. In their current environment, despite working tirelessly and giving their all, they can still only earn a limited income. Faced with this reality, they feel helpless. As a result, many choose to work abroad. For them, rather than staying in a remote county earning a meager salary, it is better to take the risk and go overseas in search of opportunities to change their destiny. While it may not guarantee instant wealth, they see this path as potentially the fastest way to break through their predicament and improve their lives. They understand that the hardships of working abroad cannot be avoided, but compared to stagnating in China, working abroad might be the only chance they have to escape poverty. Do you think working abroad has a bright future? Feel free to leave your comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Your support is very important to us, and we will continue to bring you better content. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time.